Right, hello everybody. Hi, thank you all for coming to our Feel Good Positivity Lunch and Learn. I'm going to hand you over now to Dr. Sheri, who's taking the session today.
Well, happy Valentine's Day, everybody. What I just want to start off with before we get into the presentation is if we can all just start off with a power pose to get us in the mood. And it kind of works a little like this. You can do your own interpretation, but something that exudes confidence. Can we all do that? Okay. We're going to talk about the significance of body language and why that's effective in a little bit. But to introduce myself, my name is Sheri. I trained as a psychotherapist almost 20 years ago. I'm now retired, but I did work with clients for many years, and I've also been a client myself for probably longer. I run a therapy center. Been doing that for the past 12 years. We've got 6 locations across London. We see about 2,000 appointments a month, and the kinds of things that we work with within our group are complex psychological conditions, but also very minor issues which you could probably put under the umbrella of coaching. And this is the kind of stuff that, and the tools that we're going to draw from, that I'm going to distill and bring to you today. So it's kind of, you've already got a lot of the main ingredients, and it's about really extracting the most from life and being the best version of yourself that you can be. Today is really all about you. You're going to hopefully do a couple of exercises which are going to be for you to get a sense of how these things feel for you, because it all is individual. What works for someone is not going to work for another person. It's about getting to know yourself and really kind of fine-tuning different techniques that you can deploy, not only today, but essentially for a lifetime. Today, we are going to talk about what positivity means, a couple of exercises where you can practice with each other, and wrap those up with other supplemental tools. So firstly, what exactly is positivity? Well, I don't think it needs much explanation. I think you know when you feel it. But essentially, it's the analogy of a glass which has water in it, and you're focusing on the content that has the water as opposed to the air. You're looking at the presence of something as opposed to the absence of it. So for example, if you receive a piece of feedback at work that is critical, instead of looking at it as something that is attacking against yourself, you might look at it as potentially a springboard for growth. So you're looking at it from that perspective. What it isn't is looking at the glass half full, which is saying, yay, so I'm being criticized, I feel fantastic about it. That isn't exactly what it is. So being optimistic is what positivity is about, focusing on the positive qualities and not ignoring the negative. Not ignoring that there's life challenges, because life is full of challenges and full of difficulty. It's not saying put your smiley face on at all times and blank out all that's gone wrong or that is not going well in life, because that is just unrealistic. Now, one element which is really, really interesting is that recent research has shown that forcing people to be positive or forcing people to have positive thoughts may actually leave them feeling worse. And you might relate to this or know someone who's maybe feeling low, and you tell them to put a smile on your face, snap out of it, and feel good. It's actually, you end up with 2 problems. You end up with feeling low in the first place, and then you end up sort of beating yourself up for feeling low because you weren't able to pick yourself up. So instead of like plastering some makeup on yourself, saying I'm going to feel positive and hopeful, what we're going to do, and what I recommend everyone does, is really build it from the core inside so that it radiates externally, and that it would be visible on your skin from the inside out. Self-belief and self-confidence, I'm sure you all know what it's about. It's that kind of, I believe that I could do something in this situation. Right? So I'm a good parent, I'm a good speaker, I'm a good colleague. It's those attributes that you feel you bring to a specific situation. And it is different to self-esteem, which is what you believe about yourself at core. I am good, I am lazy, I am a failure. Those kinds of messages. What we're working on today is the surface stuff. The self-esteem takes a lot more kind of maybe deep analysis, and I'm assuming that a lot of you have good self-esteem as it is already. So the fact that basically self-esteem, self-belief, and positivity are interlinked. So if you believe you can do something well in a particular situation, you're going to feel optimistic about it and hopeful. And similarly, if you feel optimistic about something, you're then going to bring good qualities and you're going to bring your best self to a specific situation. So they're kind of intertwined. And it kind of looks like this. Parodied, of course. Everyone knows the tune. Very good. So question is it born? Are we just born a happy person, positive person, optimistic and forward-looking? Or is it something that could be owned? Is it something that develops over time? And probably our best bet is, even though some maybe psychological conditions, there might be genetic dispositions towards, like bipolar disorder, you wonder if it does run in families. Essentially, the view is that it is the upbringing and the environment that brings out those qualities within you. So it's who you spent time with growing up, who your chief caregivers were, who your peers are, and to some extent your colleagues and the spouses or partners that you pick now. So it is essentially something that could be developed. And this is where the question is, can I be more positive? Can I draw it out of me? That's why you're all here today. And the good news is absolutely you can become more positive in a way that's not that artificial kind of plastering, but something that is much more fundamental inside. Now, why this works, and we know, is because of sort of more research, recent research on neuroplasticity. Raise a hand if anyone's heard of neuroplasticity. Yeah? Nope. Nope. Okay, well, I'm here to educate you. Essentially, the good news is our brains are malleable. They've found that it's almost like a lump of plastic or Play-Doh, which is that neural connections can be forged and relearned if you practice new skills repeatedly, which is fantastic news, because if you want to get good at something and you apply yourself and practice, you can. So that's absolutely a godsend to all of us, that we've got this ability to have a growth mindset. All we need is the commitment to do so. So we can train ourselves to live a more positive and fulfilling life. Yay. Now, what I want to really do, and what I really want to kind of sink our teeth into today, are a couple of exercises so that you can feel it, so that you can test for yourself whether either of the two exercises that we're going to do work for you. And the first one we're going to do is gratitude. And I think you probably all know what it is. It's essentially being thankful, showing appreciation for something that you find valuable in life. And why this works, theoretically, is because you're focusing your attention on the bit that is there, the glass that's half full, as opposed to the absence of what isn't there. And this leads you to feel better because you're noticing you're not paying attention to the part that is lacking. And you probably will find that some of the benefits of gratitude and the regular practice of gratitude, or being a grateful person in general, are things like you sleep better, your health is improved, suffer from less prone to anxiety and depression, kinder towards others, and you can take it a bit better if you sort of can get less aggressive if your feelings are provoked. So there's a whole bunch of good things and good reasons why it's useful to be grateful. So what I'd like you to do now is turn to your partner, the person who's sitting next to you, and if you can think of and talk about with one another 3 things that you are grateful for that have happened today, followed by 3 things that have happened, 3 things that you are grateful for within yourself today. Now that one's a little trickier, and I'll give you some examples. I am grateful for the fact that I was patient whilst I was sitting in traffic running late. I am grateful for that, for being tolerant towards a screaming child when they were acting up. I'm grateful for my ability to withstand my hunger pains when I'm on a diet. whatever works for you is the thing that you're going to talk about, okay? So 3 things that you're grateful for that have happened today: weather, events, people, and then 3 things that you're grateful for within yourself. Because today's Valentine's Day, it's all about self-love and self-care, so we're going to give ourselves some love, okay? So if you want, you can switch. You tell one person one thing, one person the other thing. Great. Thank you for helping me. Has everyone finished, or okay to continue with that afterwards? Okay, so I would like for you to think from a scale of 0 to 5, how useful was that for you in boosting your mood and positivity? So you could tell your partner, just tell yourself 0 to 5, 0 being completely unhelpful, didn't change your mood at all, 5 lifting you up and giving you more of a sort of a positive boost. Okay, so just hold that figure in mind, and we're going to compare it to the next exercise, which is visualization. So visualization is the idea that you're going to conjure up an image and bring with that a set of feelings and apply all of your sensations to it so that it's imaginal and that you can kind of put yourself in that in that scenario and in that position, almost as if it does feel real. So it's different to hypnosis because you're not regressing, you're not going under, and you're not having the suggestions made to you. You are coming up with the suggestions and the image and associated feelings and emotions around it. And why this works, so again, you know the science, is that it harnesses the brain's positive response to images, because we know that whether you experience something in reality or just imagine it, similar neural networks are activated. There was a really interesting study, I think it was Northwestern University in Northwestern University in Australia. They had basketball players shoot baskets for 20 minutes a day for an extended period of time. One were doing it in actual fact, the other set were doing it in their minds, and then they tested them afterwards, and the goal ratio was very similar, which is extraordinary, the power of the human mind. And I'm sure you all know the sort of the potent quality of fantasy, you know, imagining a fearful situation, an exciting situation, a future holiday. Conjuring up those images can be really, really powerful, and we want to sort of harness the benefits of that. Who uses it? Top athletes, top executives, and you, of course. So this is possibly something to add to your repertoire. Let's give it a try. So what we're going to do firstly is, if you can think of someone who to you is a role model, or an icon, who you think exudes confidence and who you might want to be like. Okay, so just give a moment or two to think of someone who you really admire and you'd like to have those qualities that they do. Okay, some of the qualities might be enthusiastic, motivated, determined, might be compassionate, might be focused. Just think of that person. And what I'd like you all to do now is, if you can close your eyes for me. Start to get comfortable. Just feel yourself sinking into the chair, feet rooted into the ground. Starting to just relax, firmly planted. And just take a deep breath in and out. Another one in and out. Just find yourself relaxing. And if you can conjure up to your mind an image of your current self. So you're imagining a mental image of you. Do you have any of the traits of the role model that you had in mind earlier? You might have at least one or two. We're going to make them more pronounced. Now, if you can start to imagine yourself, the image of yourself, growing into the traits that your role model or icon has. You might see yourself, for example, standing taller, having your shoulders broader, taking up more space, having a wider stance, smiling with purpose, maybe wearing an expression of self-contentment on your face. If you can add more visual cues to this image of yourself and start to see yourself as a person you want to be. Now, if you can start to switch that focus so that you actually feel and start to behave as this strong image, this strong, confident person. You can copy the posture and the mannerisms. You can feel yourself growing more confident, more self-assured, impassioned about your life, motivated about your goals, and just really enjoy that sensation of confidence. Now visualize yourself interacting with people who you do in daily life, and you do so with ease. You make eye contact, And you interact with them with energy and confidence. Now think of a particular event, a situation that you'd normally encounter in which you want to thrive. And imagine things going really well for yourself. What are you doing? How are you behaving? What do you see? And how do you feel? Okay? Let that all sink in, you becoming that confident self. And when you're ready, you can open your eyes again. Now, continuing with that, you are that confident person. You are imbibing that confident self. I'm going to ask you to stand up and walk around the room, acting as if you are that strong, confident person. The stance, the pose, do some power posing if that's what they're going to do, and greet each other, shake each other's hand firmly, look each other in the eye, and just act as if you were that uber confident person that you've conjured up. Okay, go for it. Very, very well done, everyone. I could feel the confidence oozing from you. What I want you to do now is to rate internally from 0 to 5. How did that feel for you? How much did it boost your positivity today? Okay, 0 to 5. And then contrast that with the gratitude and make a mental note of which one was a bit more effective for you. Can I have a raise of hands who found the gratitude exercise more effective? Okay. And then the visualization. Okay. All right, so gratitude seeming to have more power. Very good. Okay, now all of this is really getting to know yourself, trying different things out, different techniques, practices, and building up what we call like your own personal toolkit so that when you need to deploy these things, you can. So for some of you, it's clearly more gratitude, which will hopefully, if you can integrate it every day, will actually compound, and it will kind of yield a lot more results in your day-to-day life. Anything that you do repetitively will build those neural links in your brain and will have long-lasting results. So if you can do it maybe at the end of the day, gratitude, I do this every night. I have 3 things that I'm grateful for, 3 things within myself. Usually by the second item, I'm asleep anyway, but at least I'm happy as I'm asleep. So if you can try and remember and get into the habit, like brushing teeth, it can really foster great results. I want you to take a quick look at this and just pick any bits that you think you might want to give a go on your own, because we only had time for 2 today. I've picked out, by the way, the ones that have worked so well for clients over the years. There are lots of different techniques, but I wanted to share with you the ones that had most impact. Things like volunteering. If you volunteer on a regular basis, that can also be extremely uplifting. For mindfulness, raise of hands, anyone practice mindfulness? Excellent. Meditation, similar sets of hands. Listening to music, dancing, reading, watching comedies, spending time in nature. Self-compassion, that's a real big one. Self-compassion, the notion that you have a friendly voice, which is a smaller version of yourself sitting on your shoulders, saying that, yes, I mucked up at this, but I'm going to give myself a break and I'm going to try harder next time, as opposed to denigrating yourself and feeling worse about it. The regular practice of self-compassion is actually quite trendy now. A lot of the therapists in our team work with, it's what they call compassion-focused therapy. They've actually made a niche branch of therapy out of it, but it is evidence-based and it does work. Breathing, we had a little bit of a taster of that. A couple of breaths in and out can help you relax. Yoga, other sports, etc. So just take a couple of moments to to extract from that to build into your toolkit, along with either the gratitude or visualization, whichever of those worked for you. Good. So I'm going to end with a video recommendation. This is the thing that we started off with. It's where the notion of the power pose has been sort of proven. Amy Cuddy talks about how the body can actually shape your mood, and the underlying idea that you can fake it until you become it. It's not even make it, it's becoming it. And that's a little bit what we did in the visualization exercise, is that you have a notion of what you want to be, and you act as if you are that until you become it. Beyonce, everyone knows Beyonce? Yeah, Sasha Fierce. So she had this idea of this strong, confident on-stage presence. And look at her now. Does she look timid in day-to-day, or has she risen and grown to become the very template that she set up for herself? So I think that's a kind of a good example. So watch that TED Talk if you're interested. It's a pretty good one. I would probably recommend that above any other ones. So really, today is about you. It's Valentine's Day. Give yourself lots of self-love. You've been very kind to each other as well. But the object of having some tools to deploy and to integrate into your daily life on a regular basis is so that you feel better within yourself, that you improve yourself as a colleague and have better professional output, you contribute more to your workplace, you live in harmony, you reap the benefits in your personal lives and relationships, and essentially enjoy yourselves and extract the most you can out of life and have fun. So I'm going to leave you there.
We've got time for some questions.
We do. We do. Well, maybe I have to ask you some questions. Okay. Does anyone want to volunteer some practices that work for them and that they do already adopt on a regular basis to feel good about themselves? Yeah.
I think being in nature's a really good one, and something that when you are feeling low or have things on your mind, it's kind of the last thing you think of doing maybe, so it's important to get out. And what I was doing when I had lots on my mind is I'd be in nature, but I'd still be thinking about everything going on, and I wouldn't actually be appreciating the trees, the sky, the ducks. So that's something I've had to learn how to be mindful whilst I'm in nature. And when you're at work, it's very easy to not pop out for a 5-minute walk, but if we can all do that, then we might be happier people.
Absolutely. And you try and do it regularly absolutely. So you're combining gratitude, mindfulness, nature, and a break for yourself. That's very, very good. Excellent. Thank you for sharing that. Anything else? Anyone have other practices that they adopt on a daily basis or frequent enough basis that helps boost mood?
I read something, I won't do it, but I should, that if you, so you know, like a critical voice in your head, so it might say like, oh, you're rubbish, say you're doing a spreadsheet and it says, oh, you're rubbish at maths. If you change that into the third person's, not like, so you talk to yourself like, so mine's Liz, say, Liz, you're good at maths. Because if you say to yourself, oh no, I'm good at maths, in your head you're like, no, you're not. But if you were to change it so it's almost like that voice is somebody else's, so, you know, say, yeah, Liz, you're good at maths, or something like that, then it has an effect rather than you just trying to tell yourself. I mean, I read that.
That is absolutely great. I've not come across that myself, but it uses the same principles of basically when we're in a rut, we often, as therapists, we ask ourselves the questions, or we ask clients the questions, what would a friend say to you, right? So what would a kind, loving, supportive partner or friend say to you? Because it's often easier to hear things from the third party than it is for ourselves. For some reason, we give other people more credibility than we do ourselves, which is ridiculous, but that's how it works. And if we can start to incorporate that kind, benevolent internal voice, then we're usually a lot better off for it. But like anything, it's a muscle that you need to build and keep reusing until it becomes second nature. So brilliant for sharing. Anyone else? Or to put it in another way, what do you do to relax? And does that help you be positive?
I find yoga really good because you can just switch off for an hour because you're focusing on like holding positions and breathing and stuff like that. So I find that when I do that, I just don't really think about anything else. It's quite good to just switch off.
Absolutely, yeah. And a lot of different sports and exercise do the same thing. I mean, personally, one of my sort of more recently discovered hobbies is rollerblading, which I never thought I would take up at the age of 40, but there you go. And essentially, you're so busy trying to stay upright that you can't look at your phone, you can't think of other things, and you're just kind of focusing on something entirely different. And I find it very mood enhancing, but everyone has their own thing. And this is really about the whole message that we try and get across to clients is getting to know yourself. What pushes your buttons? What excites you in life? What brings you down in life? And what are the things that can bring you back up again? So again, that toolkit, knowing yourselves, getting to know, and recognize the times when you need the boost as well, because sometimes we forget. Sometimes we kind of slip back a little bit and we don't appreciate that actually now's time for self-love. So on that note, I hope you've got a significant dose of self-love today. Continue in that trend and really have a great Valentine's Day to all of you.